Guys, this is our Reddit Ask Me Anything training related question and answer number 1 to celebrate the release of FPT coming out August 20th. So you guys submitted some awesome questions and I want to get through these. And my favorite question, the most useful question, gets 50% off of FPT. So first, thanks for all the questions, and we're going to rip through this and hopefully give you guys some good ideas, some good answers. So first one comes from Soli14. I hear a lot about the asymmetries of Ultimate players. What specifically are they, and how do we correct them? Very simply, we rotate this. We get a lot of T-spine rotation. We throw backhands. We don't get any rotation. We throw forehands. So our T-spine gets wacky. We call that scoliosis. When we are right-handed throwers and we step out, we tend to bias to external rotation to expose our torso to the field. So we get a lot of external rotation, very little internal rotation, makes our hips super wacky. Third is the shoulder. We're always leading with the elbow to throw forehands, so we get a lot of external rotation. We don't get much here, and we tend to neglect our left arm because most of us don't throw left arm. So correcting these requires doing a lot of single leg, single arm training. This is functional training. When we do the single arm movements, we become more aware of our asymmetries, and through continuously training unilateral, we end up balancing them out. It's about self-awareness, and this is why in module number 2, 4-way hip static stretching, we think through front side, back side, inside, outside. As you get to know your hips, you'll know which side you need to spend a little bit more time on. So it's about self-awareness and single leg, single arm functional training, which is what this product is all about. Number 2 comes from J Turner 10, which is with the WPI Bullets, which is Muffin's team. Shout out to you guys up in Massachusetts. So one of the best ways for strengthening knees for an Ultimate player. Been struggling with junky knees for a long time. What can I do? So first we need to attack the tissue. We need to think about how can I make sure that all the tissue around my knees is supple and it's not pulling. For example, if my hip external rotators are short because I'm always throwing throws like this, then it's going to pull on this IT band and it's going to pull on the knee and it's going to show up in the form of knee pain. So I need to make sure that I'm spending time going through module number 1, SMR, and making sure I'm rolling out everything that's going on here. The second is making sure that we're doing single leg split squat variations where we're taking our knee through 90 degrees of flexion and back up. This is the split squat, the skater squat, the whole knee dominant progression found in module number 7, strength and power development. This is how we reduce the risk of knee injuries by strength training through flexion, doing it on a single leg, and training eccentric force absorption found in the plyometrics and ACL reduction portion in the very end of module number 7. Alright. Big face killer. How do you increase your vertical jump when coming from a full sprint? Understand this. We're at full speed and now we have to plant and take all of our forward momentum vertically. This requires a tremendous amount of force absorption before we go up that way. How do we absorb force? We train force absorption on a single leg. We do our hops and sticks and all of the eccentric force absorption movements found in module number 7, as well as module number 6, agility. It's about absorbing force. And further, single leg training, Olympic lifts, single leg hops and sticks, anything on a single leg that's vertically orientated is going to help us go vertically. So we need to be doing all of the explosive hip extension movements found in module number 7. Alright, we got another knee pain question here. Can you suggest 1 or 2 drills / lifts to help Ultimate players return from junky knees? You got to be able to do skater squats, both sides, fully down to the pad. That's module number 7. And you need to be rolling out your glutes consistently in the lax ball series in module number 1. And that was from R.R. Udnik. Quentin Compson. I've been working on improving my distance stability on my hucks, but my weakness is my hand/wrist forearm strength. What can I do to get grip strength? So guys, kettlebells are money. Anytime that I do anything with a big grip kettlebell, I've got to use these muscles here in my forearms. So doing something like an overhead press, when we do our swing variations and we switch, I have to grip. So everything we do in our kettlebell game is gonna increase our grip strength. That's all in module number 7, strength and power development. So get your kettlebell game up. Eyes, donkey. Do you have any advice for someone who tends to get overuse injuries? I have junky hip flexors and hamstrings. Don't know how to stop it. I tried foam rolling and strengthening. When you say foam rolling, what kind of foam rolling are you doing? Remember, there's 3 strategies that we share in module number 1 for foam rolling. You've got to make sure that you're progressed enough in your rolling that you're doing what we call tack and stretch. That's what's going to really free up the tissue. We don't just roll. We have to have a strategy. Tack and stretch rolling is huge, as well as making sure that you're not doing too much distance stuff. You've got to cut the volume. If you're out running miles and constantly putting volume on top of poor positions, then it's going to result in injury. You've got to cut your volume and make sure that your mechanics are perfect. We think railroad tracks. We don't have any toes spinning out to the side. Everything is efficient so that no injuries show up. Alright, moving on. Sex Panther. I don't really like this name. No questions but fun meeting you and playing against you at Wildwood. Voice of the Shadow. Good question. Red Pineapple. Tim, what do you find are the best ways to recover from sprints? I want to be able to not be winded. What do we do? It's about using the conditioning drills found in module number 8 and then modifying the work to rest ratios. We have to be able to start by doing these drills, recovering, doing the drills, recovering, and then the next workout having less recovery. So modify your work to rest ratios as you go. For example, the goose cone drill found in module number 8. We would start week 1 with, say, 90 seconds rest, and by week 9 we're at 30 seconds rest. The body adapts to the stimulus you put on it. So lower your work to rest ratio as you go. It takes time. Also, work on your lung capacity. All of the core training drills found at the end of module number 7 will help you to be able to breathe into your belly and not your lungs, and that makes you for a more efficient delivery of oxygen to your working muscles. Great question from LFD Jr. regarding clean technique. Long question, but he says, when we do cleans, I've seen people, and he's even seen me when I was back at UNI, coaching the clean with the hit with your hips before you go into your extension. This we took from the Chinese Olympic weightlifters who actually teach the contact with the bar to get more violent hips. I like it if you're an Olympic weightlifter, but when we teach this to most athletes who just do basic Olympic lifts, what tends to happen is the bar hits, and then we end up jumping forward to catch it, and we get bad technique. So the way that we teach it in FPT is a straight up hinge and a jump, and there's no hip contact because we're ultimate players, we're not Olympic lifters. So all we're really looking for is, can we get triple extension, which is what transfers to our sprinting, it's what transfers to our jumping. Alright, dude, big fan. I see you do a lot of work with IFP and OFP, but I'm not 100% sure when to use them. This question comes from TiVo713. So here's the deal. OFP generally happens on 180-degree turns. That's outside foot push, 180-degree turns, and defensive unders. IFP generally happens on shuffles and more acute angles around 45 degrees. These blend together when we're playing ultimate, and it comes down to, can you forcefully extend your hip? Can you forcefully abduct your hip? Can you forcefully adduct your hip? And can you flex? We train it from the hips, and then they all blend together. This is why the IFP OFP agility model, module number 6, is all about training the hips to be able to function through full IFP, OFP. So that question can be answered by studying the whole number 6 featuring Goose and Mr. Mark Schlumpf Huber. All right, rolling through these, couple more left. We got Chimera 1804. As a relatively new player, can you give me some easily preventable injuries that I should be aware of? And how do I prevent them? Knees and hamstrings happen way too often in Ultimate. In order to reduce them, glutivate before every game. That's module number 3, glutivation. Turn on your bum, because a lot of us sit on our bum all day, our glutes become inhibited, and then we go out, we try to play Ultimate, and now our hamstrings are doing the work for our glutes, and now my hamstring hurts. Same thing with the knee. If we haven't activated these muscles that stabilize the knee, then when I go to decelerate, my knee might collapse in, and now my knee hurts, or my ACL goes because this femur slides over the tibia. No good. If you guys would glutivate before every single workout, every single game, then your glutes are going to do the job for your hamstrings, and they're going to stabilize your knees. You can have a much lower risk of getting these injuries that happen way too often. Sam Mahigan, hey Tim, it's Sam from Monte Gordo. Any tips on a dodgy Achilles? Sam, we had a jam sesh earlier this year in Portugal. He's great hucks to me in the end zone. Eccentric heel drops, I've got a video on that. You can email me anytime and I'll send you that. Okay, just 3 more here. Ever since spraining my ankle 2 years ago, I have bad instability at my ankles. What do I do? Do the single leg movements in module number 7, but do them barefoot. So for example, one of the hip dominant movements in module number 7 is a SLDL. You can see when I do this barefoot, all these muscles in my foot have to stabilize and fire in order to not let my knee collapse. So I'm getting great stability at my ankle. This is why training barefoot is so key. All right, where are we at? Timbo. This is from My Dearest. The other one before was from Swirls Barkley. My Dearest says, Timbo, thanks to you, cleans have become a staple of my workout routine. Unfortunately, I've plateaued. What can I do to get over this plateau? Supplemental exercises. Module number 7, the explosive hip extension category, we talk about using the vertical jump side loaded and the dumbbell snatch as a supplemental exercise for the clean. We also talk about cluster cleans, which is a major concept that gets people past the plateau most often. So look into that. Let's see, what are the best tips for solving shin splits? We've got to attack this posterior tibialis. We go over that drill in the module number 1 SMR lax ball series. All right, last 2 questions. I'm an average player. I want to be more fit. Do you have any tips for somebody who wants to start from scratch? Remember this, we do not want to add any kind of fitness on top of dysfunction. So as a starting player, you need to make sure that you are in alignment and that you have the basic functional training drills grooved out. For example, before you go out and try to play Ultimate, you need to be able to do a goblet split squat with railroad tracks without this knee being out, without being way out here. You need to be able to get this pattern down so that when you go out and you try to sprint, you're not all out here dumping forces to the side, increasing your risk of injury. So study everything in this, get very good at modules 5, 6, 7, and then get into module number 8, conditioning, once you've done the pattern. Who would win in a fight, Eric Cressy or K-Star? This comes from AIX. I think that Cressy would deadlift K-Star and throw him up, and then K-Star would land in a perfect, like, toes forward, knees out, deep squat, and then they would probably bro shake, because those guys are boys and they would never fight. So the 50% off question is going to go to the Turner 10 from WPI Bullets for a couple reasons. One, WPI, coached by Muffin. Muffin's a longtime MP athlete, a Humiliswag player with me. Done great jobs with your program. And you asked about how to strengthen your knees. I'm very passionate about decreasing ACL injuries because I've had some very close friends that's happened to, and it should not happen. So, great question. You're going to get 50% off. I'll send you the discount code if you email me, moralperformance@gmail.com. Guys, this thing's dropping on the 20th. We want you guys to have access to it, study it, and be able to ask questions about every 2 weeks. We'll do a Reddit AMATR. So be thinking of your questions. I hope this helps. Can't wait for you guys to get your hands on FPT, and we'll see you soon.